Good morning. I got a really great question in my comment section in my video about gaining muscle after 40. And it goes like this.
After watching the RPE video, I was excited to see that you made one also. Recently, I've had to come to Jesus meeting with myself on this one. I started lifting when I was 44, and when your brother is a former world-class powerlifter, you go hard and heavy from day one. I'm 46 now, and in between cleaning houses 6 days a week and lifting 3 days a week, I'm ground up. I overtrain easily and have a couple of nagging chronic issues. I'd love to see a video on training/consistency when you have a physical job, especially when you're over 40, and how to select a challenging weight when you're starting a new program. Your experience and insight is valuable stuff. Well, I'd like to thank you for that comment, and so let's get started.
So this really is a really good question, and I'm going to break it down into different parts. And the first concept that I go over is really going to help how you determine how much you should be lifting. So here it goes. Part 1. RPE. Rate of Perceived Exertion. So we do this on a scale of 1 to 10. So for example, 10 being really heavy. So if you were a power lifter, a 10 would be your 1 rep max. Almost a PR for you. A 1 would obviously be nothing, like lifting up a Coke can. So frequently, when a client finishes a set, especially if it's a new exercise or a new client, I'll ask them, where is that on a scale of 1 to 10? 8, 9, 10, 2 more, 11, 12, very good. All right.
That was a 7.
A 7 for sure, okay. 10 being, oh my God! And 1 being, please. So, now, the magic thing is that, let's say I want you to do a set of 8, and chances are, it's not going to be a 10, but you can get up to a 9 and do 8 reps in really good form, still under control and not squirrely. But it can be one of those come to Moses events and it's like, wow, I didn't think I could push that hard. How do we use this scale? So during a warm-up set, not warm-ups, or first set, I want my load to be about 50%. So how do I know what those numbers are? And this is the tough part. And this is where I really think it's important to write down your workouts, so you know where these numbers are. And it's going to take a couple weeks before you get this figured out and dialed in. So let's say you get onto a straight Smith machine and you've set it up for incline barbell chest press. And you just put a pair of 25s on each side. And you can do a set of 12 in really good form. And you can tempo it out, like do a 3 count down, little pause at the bottom and back up. And you're fatigued, you have a pump, but you think, maybe that was about a 5. on a scale of 1 to 10. If 50 pounds is a 5, in theory, a total of 100 pounds should be a 10. Then a 70% load would be 70 pounds. So you add a 10-pound weight on each side, and you do a set of 10. Once again, you're doing good tempo, maybe a 2 count down, a little pause at the bottom, and drive it back up, all with really good form. And when you finish, you're fatigued, and it's like, oh boy. But that was, I think that was about a 7, maybe even an 8. So you write that down. Now, what you do is, if you're thinking, wow, that actually might have been a 7 or an 8, so let's go for it. So we're going to put 50 pounds on each side. And you go for a set of 8 to 10. Once again, in really good form. Let's say you only get to 7. Well, that truly was your top set. Now you have your mark. So let's say you back it off to 90 pounds, or so you know that next time, I would like to get more reps out of it, but instead of doing 100 pounds total, I'll do 90, so I'll end up with 1 plate on each side. So now you have a starting point. So if you know your top set is going to be 90 total, half of 90 is 45. So you'd set it up so that you have 45 pounds total on the bar when you start. 65 pounds total for your second set. And then, the next week when you do this, you can actually nail 10 good reps for 90 pounds. There's just something about the 100 that's too much for you. So now you have your baseline. You have 2 weeks worth of experience with it. So now you know that, all right, I nailed 10 with really good form, under tempo at 90 pounds. So I'm going to put a little note here that says, next week, go up by 5 pounds on each set. So once again, you'll be at 50, 70, and we'll do 95. 95, you get 8 good reps out of it. Number 9 was a struggle, and number 10, I should have just stopped. That's where you know. Now, your goal is to do 50, 70, 100, and get 10 good reps out of 100. So this is how you set your standard using an RPE scale. So let's think about what that really equates to. According to science and bro science, the hypertrophy weight should be 70 to 80% of your max. So if that set of 100 or 90 really is an 8, 7 and 8, or the 70, whatever it is, then those are the ranges that you want to work in for hypertrophy. So you can apply that when you're coming back into the gym to most of your exercises. Where is this on a scale of 1 to 10? My first set should be a 5, and I'm going to try to top out heavy. I'll make notes, and either adjust for next week or just, if the top set really wasn't heavy enough, add 5 pounds, add 10 pounds total, try it again, rest a little bit, try it again, and think, okay, all right, there it was. That was the 8-9. The longer you do this, the more instinctual it becomes and more adept you will become at it. And then you'll learn as you progress up, when something that should be a 5 becomes a 4, you know you've got to go up with that. But I can also use tempoed sets to increase the time under tension and fatigue to make it still a worthwhile set. Part 2. Let's say you're coming back into the gym, or better yet, it's right after a physique contest. After you take a minimum of a week off, then you're going to start back. You're not going to start back at exactly where you left off. Give your body time to get strong enough to get back into it. So what you'll do are what I call 70% days. So you look back in your book and you see that, okay, when I do dumbbell flat bench press, a 70 was or my second set, which should have been in theory like my 70 to 80% set, or was this, throw a number out there, it was 80 pounds. So that's where I'm going to top out. I'm going to look through my log, and so for the whole next week, with all my exercises, I'm not going to go try to get back to where I was, but I'll do 70% of my normal loads. Then once I feel like my body is fed well, it's rested enough, then I go back to pushing and using progressive overload. If you knew in the past where I used to work out at, then I'd probably start at 50% loads. Don't go any, that's where you're thinking that's going to be my max. So you have to work off those assumptions. Once again, you have to leave your ego in the car or in the basket up front at the gym. Nobody gives a damn what you are doing, how much you are lifting. That is up to you. Nobody's judging you. And if you think that somebody is judging you, what difference does it make to you? Does it change your income? Does it change your self-worth? No, it doesn't. What other people think about how you're lifting means nothing. How do they not know you're not injured or something? So forget about what people think. Just do the work. Part 3, warm-up sets. When you're over 40, you need to do more warm-up sets. Now, here's something stupid I see frequently. Now, if you're a power lifter, this is different. But I'll see people get on the bench, flat bench, use an empty bar, and just pump it for all it's worth. I mean, just fast. Or even lightweight. They just pump it as fast as I can. Why? Why are you doing that? You could have done perfect form. Imagine what the rep feels like. Stretching, squeezing. Now, if you're a power lifter, you're working on explosive motion. But I know who the power lifters are in here, and I know who the people who are not, and they just honestly don't know that this is not the way you warm up. So, for example, on chest day for me, I have all these shoulder rotations I have to do. I literally do dead hangs to loosen up my pecs, loosen up my shoulders and my lats so I get a full range of motion. Then I'll get on a pec deck, and just to get lightweight, I mean, this is like a 3 or 4 on a scale. I'm stretching, I'm squeezing, I'm making that mind-muscle connection. After I do 2, maybe 3 sets, depending upon how my shoulders feel, then I feel like I'm warmed up. And then let's say I go on to dumbbell flat bench press. I'm still going to do 2 warm-up sets that are in the 5 or 6 range with higher reps, but a killer tempo, like a 4 count down, 2 count pause, back up with perfect form. So when I finish that first warm-up set, I have a pump. The muscle is fully engaged. Add like 10 pounds, do it again. So when I do my first pec deck set, whatever my initial warm-up is, there are no hard and fast rules about how many reps you do. This is just to move the muscle around, get the joints moving. If you feel like this is so damn light and you do 15, then add 5-10 pounds. Do as many warm-ups as you can that will not be detrimental to your first working sets. So I consider sets in the 70% range as a working set. Warm-up sets don't count as working sets.
Part 4. All right. So when you have a very physical job, that's a really good question. What do you do when you do that? Man, you are working hard all day. You might be a restaurant server, or like in this example, you're cleaning houses all day long. You know, you're constantly up on your feet and everything. This is a really good question because it will, if you really want to work out and you really want to make gains or make progress, then you have got to do a couple different things. One, you have to have a bedtime. You have to be like a child and know that 9 o'clock is the time where I have to put on my pajamas and get all my stuff ready for bed. And by 9:30, I have to be in bed. And you have to have a good sleep conditions, good sheets, dark room, cool room. Get some sleep. You have to rest. And I know a lot of people in that situation that, you know, you don't have time for naps, and I know that sucks. So it has to come out of, you have to sacrifice something else. Second thing is your nutrition really has to be on point. I see a lot of trainers who work out along with their clients, you know, doing calisthenic type work, you know, so they're pushing it all day long with their clients. And if that's what you're going to do, then you have to eat to support that. You have to figure out where is that, how many calories are you burning a day along with your clients, so you can make up those calories if you literally want to gain any muscle. So if you're in a very physical job, you need to make sure that you are packing enough food, that you have to pound down that protein. You also have to make sure that you get the right amount of carbs and fats so that you can power through your day. Third thing,
you got to be hydrated, man. You have to be hydrated. You know, you got to circulate that nutrition around your body, so you got to stay hydrated. You know, you don't necessarily have to have a Stanley Cup, but you really need to keep your level of hydration high. You know, especially if you're a construction worker, you're working outside. You already know that you have to stay hydrated. You probably also need to make sure that your supplementation is on point, making sure that you're getting enough vitamin B, vitamin D, vitamin C, you know, things to support your immune system, your energy systems, you know, keep your heart going, take a good quality fish oil, you know, making sure you get your omegas. All these things are going to add up so that you can support your workouts and actually make gains when you have a very physical job. You know, I'm a trainer, so I don't work out along with my clients, but I'm constantly moving plates around. I'm on my feet all day long, but I don't think I'm as busy as the person in the example for my question. But the only way is, you know, eat, sleep, stay hydrated. As far as consistency is concerned, I've done a number of videos on consistency, so you can look through my channel and find a number of things about consistency. But consistency is its whole thing. It is, you know, passion, motivation, you know, how OCD are you? You know, how much do you really want this? You know, are you really goal oriented? You know, if you're in this type of job, then, and this is something that you really want, then you probably need to set written goals and make sure that you stay on track. And that's the only way that's going to happen. Otherwise, it all just gets very overwhelming. If you found this content useful, please hit that thumbs up button. Please let me know you learned something. Put a comment below and be nice. And if you have a good question, maybe I'll do a video response just for you. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at masters_muscle. And if you are interested in Evogen products like I use, then I have a link below in the comments. You can use my code Yaakov 10 off to get 10% off. So until next time, this is Yaakov Baran, and I'll see you on the stairs.